didn't stutter as much. So it was the fact that the computer was on for 7 days. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it didn't stutter as much. We'll get the train around the corner. You see the automobile? Fucking Christ. It's not exactly the right shot, but I'll still be... I'm gonna be probably doing this a few times here. We drained the boiler pressure pretty hard. Well, we've been also speeding. Now we can put some water in the boiler. Okay, drop the reverser a bit. That's not fueling the fire. We'll let the boiler water in the boiler kick back up. But we got it pretty well there. Around the corner here. Let's make sure that our switches are lined. Next waypoint here. Yeah, we're lined. We got the safeties again. Alright, well, we're doing okay so far. We're about halfway through our run. I don't see hitching as much on the recording, so that's good. It seems to be fairly smooth. I bet you that the reason it was hitching so much was actually because I had the computer running for 7 days in a row and it was just screwed up, so... I do not restart my computer very frequently. I probably should do that now. I'm noticing that we've got some hitching issues. Alright. Oop. That's enough water in the boiler, sir! I'll go through the swing bridge here. So, I want to point out something about... so, this is interesting here with the swing bridge. What he did was he actually put an abutment right here. This is actually what I did for my own route. I actually built like a little swing bridge on my own route just by putting a regular bridge segment and an abutment just right in the middle, so it just looks like it can swing around. I wanted one that animated, but because I had issues with it consistently animating correctly and running correctly, I decided to just give up on it and just make it a static object with the swing bridge notification on it. I probably should have put some different cards on this set, honestly. Oh well. Picking up speed. Right, clear through. A little bit more to go here. More crossing. Now, I do understand why this track has been since ripped up. I mean, dear God, the amount of crossings through here. I mean, you're waking up the entire neighborhood as you go through here. Like, literally, you are waking up the entire neighborhood as you claw through the city. And the CNW trackage, which is now technically owned by the Union Pacific, would probably be the safer option because you're going around the lakeside rather than this. Oh, that's too much water in the fire in the firebox. Fuck. That signal there? Is that our signal or is that another signal? Oh, we got clear. Looks so weird on that side. Well, I guess it's because the other track's in the way. There we go. Clear through. Alright, we're coming through. I do like the fact they put a lot of like detail into Oshkosh in particular. when he made the original route. Because it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, that's about right. That feels right. That feels like a lived-in city. It's something I strive for my own route. Well, slow down. Go. Slow down. Mother Nature will be like, slow down. And you'll go like, fuck you, and kick her in the face with your energy legs. Just random. Like, every time I say slow down, that's the first thing that comes to my mind is the Minergy thing. Which is, God, that's an old thing. That's old school YouTube. That's like early 2000s YouTube. It's still up on YouTube too. It's one of the more ridiculous things. But it's like, oh dear Lord. Like, clearly it's one of those, like, the original, like, it's clearly one of the old YouTube poops, as they were called. That was just, like, so stupid. Very fun, because it's like, yeah, just, like, making jokes left and right. And it's just like, okay. There was a version of that particular video that was Full Metal Alchemist themed, and I cannot for the life of me find it anymore. And it really disappoints me because I love that particular version of it because it was just like, they were actually like like they literally used scenes that matched up with what the audio was saying. Alright, clear through. Clear, divergent clear. Still got the saves going. Go run depot, clear, divergent clear onto this main here. Let's go. Alright. Is that a yellow? I think that was a yellow. I think we got another signal coming up here. Another red block coming up here. I don't know yet. How long have I been recording for? About an hour and 2 minutes. Not too bad. We went through Oshkosh, and that. So this is about halfway through the video at this point, or maybe a little bit more. So the plan is for these videos is to split it up into 2 parts. Oh, I should also mention why I'm doing this in April, not May. The public debut of the 1522 in 1988 was in April. It was the first time she had steamed up for the first time in April of 1988. So technically, this is the, oh god, I think it's like the 52nd year, the 52nd anniversary of her return to service in 1988, which is really cool. So I decided, why not show off the locomotive on the route. On a route where she ran between during her first couple of months in service. So that's what I'm doing here. Now, thankfully, like I said in the very beginning of this video, I am planning on releasing the scenario to the general public. Once the scenario is out, I will update the description to show that it is released, and where you can download everything and all that kind of stuff. I plan to release it on both the TrainSim community website and on the Steam Workshop. I don't know how well it's going to do on the Steam Workshop because, you know, many people at the Steam Workshop, they want to use what is, there's not very many people that include stuff with Steam that are outside of Steam, so yeah, who knows. That's tough. We're kind of running low on fuel here. Alright, here we come. Oh, we're speeding again. Fuck. Is that an approach? I think that's an approach, right? Yes. That's enough fuel in the fire. That's enough oil in the fire. I'm coming up to the 30 limit here, which is good. We can actually open her up a bit more. So there's something in particular with this particular signal up here, and I'm not sure what it is, but for some weird reason, this one always shows the red block. But you can actually tab and make sure and give clearance here. So what I'm going to do here is once we get close to the signal, I'm going to press tab and we're going to go through. Of course, once we get close to it, I want to make sure we're close enough to it to set the signal. Another crossing over there. Alright. There! Yep, signal approach. That's the only particular signal you have to do that to, and it still counts as a SPAD for some weird reason in the game. So something's up with the game in that particular area, so I'll have to make sure I put a marker there to signify that you guys need to clear for dispatch, make sure you're cleared out there. Alright. Release the brakes. I'm gonna get her up to speed here. Now fuel on the fire. Running, we're good on the brakes. Alright, we're off on to North Fondu Lac next. Well, to be fair, we are, yeah, North Fondu Lac is in 12 miles. We shouldn't be too far away from this now. Still wasting a lot of oil pressure, which is not too bad. We don't want to be blowing our safeties repeatedly, though. Here, the chuffing sound effect use its next cycle. Now, this is also something that I had to really work with here, is because the signaling on this route is very unique in that there's not much in the way of yard signals, like to make sure you're entering or exiting for the train, the railroad, for the dispatcher to denote that you're going through yards rather than actual main trackage. So the way this dispatcher works in this game, you have to really set out, like, make sure you're setting it on the right path. And that's kind of the unfortunate things with this route, but it's also like gives it a nice little challenge. That's why I have the difficulty set the way I do. Because it's one of those things where you gotta make sure you're on your toes on this. Actually, keep the water down. Put some more fire in the put some more oil in the firebox. Crossing over the ditcher. We got plenty of fuel. We got another waypoint coming up here that we need to get to. Come on. There we go. Drop it down a bit so we don't have to waste all that fuel. Alright, now we're speeding. Shit. Go down there. There you go. Let the train coast down the hill. The brakes come on. We're gonna put water in the boiler so we don't blow our safeties repeatedly. There we go. Coming up. I should point out that one of the things about this particular locomotive, one of the things on the path, one of the things that is kind of unique to this locomotive that is not available in the enhancement pack. This is something somebody else did for me. They changed the physics a little bit, or at least the firing mechanics on this locomotive. So you can see that the fuel level drops down significantly as you're traveling at speed. And that's because originally the way this locomotive was coded was similar to that of every other coal burning steam locomotive in the game. It's that not using a traditional oil. It's not using Smokebox's code to simulate an oil fire. It's actually using what is effectively a coal-fired engine. So because of that, it's using a certain amount, like certain mass to weight ratio and everything like that. It's kind of ridiculous, but it's also something we have to work with the game's limitations here. Coming up to the next crossing here. I keep just barely notice that there's a bit of a hose down there that's wiggling back and forth down there at the bottom. Unless that's just a steam effect making it look like that. That's just a steam effect. Never mind. Woo. Smoke in your face. Built to tolerance, boys. Slow down a little bit. So our next waypoint is actually a stop at Van Dyne sighting here, and you'll see why here in a minute. Or a minute or two, honestly. As if we... we'll be fine. A little bit of speed here. We'll probably be there, yeah, it says at 35, and we're supposed to be there at 47, so... How are we doing recording wise? 1 hour 11 minutes. About right where I was expecting. Come, play it through. Shut her off a little bit. So that marker is supposed to go off in 3 minutes after passing the waypoint we passed earlier. Shut her down a little bit more. We're gonna kind of slow down here. In fact, we're actually losing boiler pressure just by idling because our fuel level's so low. All right. Okay. A little bit more fuel in the fire so we can get some boiler pressure back up. Oh, there it goes. There's dispatch. By the way, I had to look up look up interlocking interlocking tower or dispatch or something like that for this particular image, and I just cut it out of a larger image. So, dispatch to 1522. You're going into the hole at Van Dyne to allow 6422 to pass. To allow 6422 to pass. Once they're clear, once they clear, you've got the road to North Fondu Lac Yard. Dispatcher out. And that triggers pretty close to the sighting here, if I'm not mistaken. We're probably at a point now where it's actually pretty decently distant here. Maybe a minute more. Come on, put up some more throttle here. Shut her down. And off we go. I heard the crossings go down. How far are we out? 2 miles? Oh, well, actually 3 miles. Maybe another minute or two before we actually get that waypoint set up. Oh, turn the bell off. Whoops. Okay, we're good. This is a long video, boys. Longest recording I've done so far. Hour, 15 minutes so far. We're going to split it up into two. Like I said, we're splitting this up into 2 parts. I think I have the perfect plan for where that's going to be split at. Oh, there's the spot. Alright, slide her down, open the cylinder tracks. Let her coast as far as we can. Because of safeties. So we're probably going to need to put on brakes because we're coming in a little hot here. A 10-pound set. Slow down. About half a mile out away from our speed change. We're still not slowing down too. Well, slowing down okay. Alright, release the brakes. The brakes will come off just slow enough where we can actually slow down pretty naturally. Coming through. Just pass it through. Oh, there we go. Alright, there we go. Now we got it. Slow down just right. There's the sighting right up there. Oh, Jesus Christ. On the diverging approach. Into the yard we go, or sighting we go. Alright. So we're going to be going all the way to the other end of the yard so we can actually get to our destination on time. So still blowing our safeties, but that's not too bad. Alright, bell on. Blow the whistle, blow for the crossing. This is what I was talking about when this scenario was a fairly boring scenario from end to end. So, this is one of those scenarios that is just not going to be interesting for people that just want to really have a lot of meats and everything. Go, clear through. We need water in the boiler. Alright, there we go. Okay. Made it into the siding. We're going to be going through pretty well here. I feel like I should redo the review a little bit on this locomotive. Well, maybe not. I don't know. There's a few things I should do about this locomotive. Like, a few things I want to show off with this locomotive as time goes on. Another crossing coming up here. Kind of coast in here. It's really done. Machine Rails has really done a nice job over the years with all their equipment. They've gotten better over the years, and this locomotive was kind of like that tipping point for them, I guess you could say, was in terms of like the modeling and everything. It's really nicely done. It's really well looked after. It's actually pretty well researched because that plate on the side there that's over by the tender, we'll see it here in a second here. Is actually something that not many people realize. I think Steve Laro, who lives in the United States, who did the one for trains, he didn't model that particular part of the locomotive. And I think it's just because it's so out of the way you don't really see it, and it's not really pictured or photographed or anything. And that's kind of the unique thing about this particular locomotive, is that it actually has some details on it that, for the most part, you wouldn't see on any other model of it over the years. Like, this one's actually got some details on it that are actually like, oh, I didn't know that was a part of the locomotive. It is. Now, of course, he did model it off of the time it was in operation during the steam era. So the 14L brake stand that was, and the diesel MU control unit that was featured on the 1522 during its excursion career is not present on this locomotive. But that's fine. It's not like a big deal. If anything, it's one of those things where it's like it's not a necessary like addition to the locomotive. It would be nice for a more modern variant to allow for like, oh yeah, this is that locomotive in particular and whatnot. So I'm not too bothered by it. Fuel's kind of low here. Alright, we're gonna shut down the throttle. We're gonna let it coast up to the signal. There's no fuel in the fire. Safety. Boost the reverser up a bit, and we're gonna be, like I said, we're gonna be stopping at the signal. It looks like we're gonna be stopping close to 40, which is when the other two trains starts. When our next meetup is supposed to depart. Actually, it's 40, so we should be not far along. We're almost done with the scenario, boys. 120, that's good. Brakes. £10 set. Right up to the signal, boys. Alright. It's been consistent that I've gotten here at 35, honestly. Yeah. Let me show you that plate a little closely. I've shown this off in the review of the locomotive as well, but this is the plate that I'm referring to. This is actually something that is only seen on the 1522. It's only seen on this particular model of the locomotive, which is actually pretty cool. I even think it's actually 3D modeled, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's 3D modeled. So it's like, you can actually see that there's detail to the that plaque. It's really cool. Alright, so the safeties are going off now. We're waiting for another train because you can see that they've got the clear on the other track. And yeah, that's going to be quite a bit here. We'll go into North Fondu Lac Yard, of course. It's going to be a long... So I'm going to probably have to edit this video a little bit more than I would expect. So, but yeah, we got a bit to do here. Alright. Well, here is our freight meetup with the freight train. So here's our freight train coming through here. You know, sound a whistle as we let the freight train go by. I hear the other freight train going by. There's actually 2 freight trains that roll by on this like at this moment here, which is actually pretty cool. You hear the brake of the cars on the other train. Oh god. More cars coming through. There's the freight train. Alright, now with the freight train clearing up the block here, we can actually go ahead and go into North Fondu Lac Yard. What did I just do? Oh, I was on the wrong program here. There we go. Alright, come on. Let's move it. Alright, now we're moving. Off we go to adventure and death. There we go. There's our train. Pass the signal. That'll be it for the video. At least that part of the video. I'm trying to make sure I don't run out of fuel before I get out of here. Okay, fuel, fire, everything. Let's go. Oh, here's the crossing. They're on the crossing. Don't get on the crossing. Oh, that's they're not on the crossing. That's funny. That's funny. Alright, off we go to adventure. Alright, we're almost to North Fondu Lac, finally. Alright, we're good. Alright. Now that we're on our way, we're gonna be... Alright. Alright, so now we come up to... Okay, so here we are at North Fondu Lac. We're just shy of North Fondu Lac, which gives us a little bit of time to look at what we're dealing with here in the... Oh, no, we're not close enough yet. We're still kind of out the way. Alright, off we go. Alright, here we come. Crossing coming up ahead. Here we go. Clear to proceed. Alright, now we're good. Through the crossing. Let's go. All right, that's it. All right, now we gotta make sure we line ourselves into the right track here, which is the siding over here. Should be good. We're gonna slow down because... There we go. I'm gonna slow down here a little bit. Make sure we're lined. We got. This is where we get concentration here, guys. Okay. Oh, looks like we are lined into the wrong track there. Are we lined into the correct track now? Okay. We got clear. I think we got it clears. Now we gotta slow down even more. There we go. Okay, what's our signal? Oh, we got it clear. We got it clear. We got an approach, I think. Ah! Wrong game. But no, we got a red. That's our red. All right. All right, here we go. Oh, slow down. We gotta. Now we're coming into the yard. We gotta slow down here as we come up to the yard track. All right. All right. Easy does it. All right. And then we'll. Now that we've entered the yard lead, we'll have to slow. Go ahead. These are good. Oh, okay. I don't know if I was get. Oh no, I got it. Okay, approved. All right, we got it. This one we definitely need to declare for. Alright. Alright, here we go. Oh, here we go. So this is the yard at North Fondu Lac. It's actually pretty impressive. Or, well, the fact that there's so many cars here at North Fondu Lac to mess with. So many tracks to mess with here at North Fondu Lac. And I had to put a lot of cars in here, and I'm still not technically done. I feel like I should put more cars in this yard for the CNW. But that's pretty full right now. There's still some tracks over there that could be filled up. And North Fondu Lac yard out here, just further up the line, it's actually... Oh, what? Okay. It's actually pretty full as well. There's plenty of low poly equipment out here, just because of how much cars we have. So, let's make sure we're... Oops, shit. Ah! Fuck. Okay, we're good. I think we're lined into the right track. I can't tell. I moved the game window up a little bit. Okay, yeah, we're lined into the right track. Shop track number 5. Still coming into the yard here. Approved. Into the yard. Off we go. Right, we got a 15-mile-an-hour limit. And we're at 15 miles an hour. That's good. Let me sit down a little bit. Give us a little bit of speed here as we enter the yard. Alright. We're going to ease our way into this yard, and that's it for the scenario. Alright. So we got a little bit more to do in the scenario. Okay. Easy does it. Alright, easy. Alright. As we ease our way through the yard here, we can actually... Alright. Now that we've gotten into the yard, let's go ahead and finish up here. We're just about done, guys. It's a long run. Oh yeah, 41 minutes. Alright, we're gonna be... Alright. Alright. So now we're getting into the yards. We've just got... So, that's it for... Like, so we've made it to North Fondu Lac. And that's, like, all she wrote, essentially, for this scenario. Like I said, it's not a very, like, long... It's a long scenario, but it's also not very populated in terms of traffic. It's very much a scenario of point A to point B with one drop-off on the way there. So there's a little bit of action here and there, but for the most part, it's actually a pretty fun... Like, from my point of view, it's nice to have to run the 1522 with a long run of freight behind, a long freight run behind her. Not only that, but you also recreate a bit of history with this locomotive. Now, with that said, after this run on July 26, 1988, the 1522 would be stored in the North Fondu Lac shop area, which would be right about here, it would be stored there for a few weeks while the crew would go back to St. Louis and kind of get some rest. And after that, they would take another freight from North Fondu Lac to Chicago, where she would pull her first ever excursion trains on the Wisconsin Central, which would be in August. And unfortunately, because that particular portion of the route is not modeled, we can't recreate that portion of the history of the 1522. Byron Hill is not present on this route, so kind of unfortunate there, but, you know, it's neither here nor there. I'm going to get this locomotive spotted by the tracks here, and we'll kind of finish up from here. So, we'll get some... Well, I got a lot of Milwaukee Road boxcars if you haven't noticed. It's kind of like it's a little bit of an inside joke within the heist community about the Milwaukee Road, or a little bit, it was an inside joke for a while, so... Alright, brakes on. Pull the brake. There we go, 10-pound set should do it. There we go, she stopped. Alright, boys, we made it. We made it to North Fondu Lac, not bad. This is one of, like I said, this is one of those scenarios that is just not a long one, but it's also kind of like the quintessential end-to-end run with this scenario. There we go. Nice work today. Everything appears to be running smoothly. So far with the old girl. Why don't you head into town and grab a bite to eat? Considering that it's like 12 o'clock by the time the scenario ends. Yeah, that's why I put that there. We'll take care of things from here. That's the last message before, well, you'll see in a second here. Scenario complete. Now, technically it's not complete, because you can see on the bottom there that we do have another waypoint, but that is the final destination waypoint, which technically you don't need to do. So, we'll finish this up here. We'll see how we did. Yep, I did say that we spad one signal, and that's typical of this. We did speed 2 times. Traveled about 30 miles from end to end, which is about right, and it was 1 hour 38 minutes of a run. So yeah, there we go, guys. Like and comment down below, subscribe if you guys want more, and I will see you guys in the next video. Feel free to check out this route in the description down below, and the scenario will be released shortly, and the description will be updated accordingly. So all the links are in the description down below. Like and comment down below, subscribe if you guys want more, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.